So let's look at the fuel chits real quick so you kind of get an idea of what they look like. Grab one out of the bag. So one side has two fuel. In other words, you have, oh sorry, that's one fuel. One side has two fuel, so you have two, you have a little icon with two fuel. And then the other side has one fuel. So as you use fuel, you'll flip it over, and then if it's only one fuel, then you'll remove it. So that's how the fuel works. So you start out with 4 two-sided chits, which makes up 8 total fuel for all of the flights. All right, so we'll start the flight turn. First is move, which is skipped on the first turn. Next is wind. So wind, we currently have a tailwind. So that's what the tailwind looks like. And the tailwind is going to determine our movement effects for the wind. So for the first phase, we just have a tailwind, and you can look at the wind effects chart here. Look at tailwind. It's severe or not severe. In this case, it's not severe. And how we know that is because the tailwind chit has two sides. One is not severe, and the other is severe. And this occurs for all of the different wind chits. So there's your wind. It is a tailwind. Looking at our chart, if it's not severe, you may move or acquire target if flight does so, pass a guzzle check, or consume one fuel. So what a guzzle check is we're checking against a 5, by the way, because our weight is 5. And how I know that is because in the first pages of the scenario book, we have our plan. So our plan in this particular case, as you can see here, this is page 3. You can see our weight is 5. So there's our weight right there at a 5. So a guzzle check means we need to roll 2 dice and see if they are 5 or above. If they are 5 or above, thumbs up, we use no fuel. If it's 4 or below, we use 1 fuel. So let's check it out. We have our 2 dice. We're going to try first the first flight and see how it goes. Can we get a 5? We got more than a 5. Fantastic. So he gets to move first flight. And we don't use a fuel, so we'll leave all of his fuel as is. Second, we got it. Third, we got it. This is looking really nice. We got it for 4th, and for 5th, we got it again. Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, so the next phase is hazards. So we did our guzzle checks. We did our wind effects. Now the next phase is hazards. So we draw hazard markers according to the map. So you'll see draw hazard markers printed on the map. Okay, so that means that right here, now you remember we have an emergency launch. So let me go ahead and check that. We have an emergency launch because that was in the scenario, 7. And we have another type 1 hazard. So we have to draw 2 hazards and see what they are. So the way hazards work is you have 3 different chits. You'll have a 1, you have a 2, and you have a 3. So for this particular spot on the map, as you move west, it gets worse. So you go from 1 to 2 to 3 or whatever, and you also start doing alerts. So we're going to get all the 1s and put them in a cup, and then draw for what hazards that we encounter. So let's see what we have here. So I need 1 for standard draw, and I need 1 because we did an emergency launch. So 2 hazards. And this only applies to areas where flights are. So for this particular area, we have 2. So there is our 2 hazards. Now next we have to assign it to somebody. I'm going to assign it to first flight and assign it to second flight. Flight zone. Okay. All right, it works for me. All right, now we flip it over and see what we have. So here we have a compass error on first flight, and we have a ship. So when you get a ship, here's what the ship looks like. We get a ship, we put it randomly over here in there, and then we want to roll. So this is a vessel. Place the vessel in the flight zone. Then count the number of total vessels markers on the flight map, which is 1, and roll the dice. If the number rolled is less than the number of vessel markers, which is impossible because you can't roll to 0, then increase the alert level by 1. So we got a freebie here. We don't have to do anything on this particular matter. All right, now we do the compass error. So we need to attach this to an airplane. No immediate effect, but when entering the target map, this plane is delayed a number of attack turns equal to a die roll. So no immediate effect. We'll handle that as we try to enter the target map. All right. So we need to assign this to somebody, though. Doolittle does get a free reroll. So if he does take a hit on this, then we could just re-roll out of it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put him on Doolittle. Doolittle deserves a little love here. So there you go. So the next is fuel. Each flight consumes 1 fuel. If no fuel to consume, make a flying on fumes check. We do have plenty of fuel. So that means we're basically going to get this and turn it over for each flight. So we reduce that by 1, we reduce that by 1. Now most YouTubers will write down their fuel on a piece of paper, but just for the fact that I bought the game and I got the chits, I'm going to use the chits. Screw it. This is nothing major. I have one game with 2,000 chits, so whatever. Okay, so we all consumed 1 fuel. And that, my friends, ends this particular turn. So next turn, we get to move, and then we have to recheck the wind, okay? So we're going to move all of our guys. First flight, second flight, third, fourth, and fifth. And now we get to do the wind. So the wind check, so you'll notice that the tailwind affects from here to here. So it's this area here that we get to get this nice tailwind, which is beautiful. It's moving us right along. So we need to perform, again, check against 5 to see if we do a fuel. So let's do that for these. First flight moves. Does he consume a fuel? That's 5 or greater. We're good. We pass the guzzle check. No fuel. Second flight moves. Does he consume a fuel? We are 5 or greater. We are good. No fuel. What about third? Let's move them. We're above 5. We're good again. Try fourth. We're way above 5. We're good. And finally, does fifth consume fuel? We are 6. We are above 5 and good. We didn't consume any fuel at all. That was beautiful. Unfortunately, we have a Type 2 hazard that we have to draw, which is probably not going to be good. So let's swap out our Type 1 hazards for Type 2 and then check that out. So let's dump our Type 1 hazards into there and get our Type 2 hazards and put them in the cup and see what happens. So we need 1 Type 2. Let's go for it. Let's go for it, man. There's our Type 2. Oh, this could be bad. Let's see. Faulty compass? That's not bad at all. Oh, I had to assign it to a flight. Sorry. Don't yell at me. I had to assign it to a flight. Assign it to that one. Faulty compass. All right. We had a compass error. What's the difference between compass error and faulty compass? Faulty compass. Ugh. If B-25 have radios, no. Make a secrecy check. And no, we don't have to do that. Attached to a plane, no immediate effect, but when entering a target map or landing site, roll a die. If even, no effect. If odd, the B-25 is delayed or ditches. Afterwards, remove that hazard from play. Okay, so we now have 2. We now have 2 hazards, don't we? Yeah, both the compass here and the compass here both affect the target map or landing site. Okay. So we need to assign it to a plane. Doolittle, we've already picked on him. Let's go with Hoover. Well, what do we got? Who else would be a good candidate? Let's go with Hoover. I don't know. I don't have any like amazing thing to do here. Let's go with Hoover. He does have a ignore damage that we can use once, but not sure that's going to be not sure that's going to be good for what we want to do. Okay, so now we did the hazard. We assigned the V-22s. We revealed the hazard. Fuel. Everybody consumes one fuel. Okay, so we have this one fuel marker here. I'm just going to go ahead and take it out for every flight. So let's put it back in our happy fuel baggie. So everybody consumed one fuel. We now have 3 chits on here for every one of these. And that is the end of our turn. Now we'll move the time again. We started at 0600 and now we're at 1000. Okay, so we're good on that. Now let's go to the next turn. So move. We're going to move, move, and move. This actually was rather non-eventful. I thought it was going to go horrible. Sometimes you will get quite a bit of pain in the ass things that happen with some of these hazards. So that wasn't bad at all. Okay, so now we have quite a few hazards and we moved our wind. So the first wind was here. The next wind is here. So it encompasses these 2 spots. So since we're not doing anything over here anymore, we could zoom in, but I'm just going to leave it for now until we actually get going over here. So we did our move phase. Now we do the wind. So now we have a crosswind, which is a different token. So that is a crosswind, and it is gusty. So let's find out how we deal with that. So now the second phase is wind, and now we have a new condition, which is crosswind. So we have a crosswind that's not severe. Basically, if it's severe, it looks like that. If it's not severe, it looks like that. Okay. So a crosswind may attempt to move or acquire target. We're going to move. Pass guzzle check to move or acquire target. Now, you remember if flight check does so, pass guzzle check or consume 1 fuel. But now it says if consume 1 fuel if guzzle check succeeds, which is totally different than that. So you remember our weight is 5. We're going to do a guzzle check against 5. So I'm going to try to move into here with the first flight, and I'm going to try to see if we use a fuel or not. And if it's above a 5 or 5, which it is, then we consume a fuel. So we're going to get the fuel on this particular flight, and we're going to flip it over to 1. And we can also sort of spread these out as well. So that is first flight. So let's try the next one. We're going to go ahead and move, and then later we're going to try to acquire one of these cities over here. So let's see. 5 or greater, we use a fuel, and we did use a fuel. Okay, so we're going to get second flight. He consumes a fuel. We have high rolling dice today. All right, now third flight. Let's move from on in here and then try a guzzle check. And it is a 5 or above, so we use a fuel. Put that there, and then spread these out as well. Okay, so fourth flight, we're going to do the exact same. And it's 5 or above. We seem to be only rolling a 5 or above. I swear this is not like trick dice or something. Okay. And then finally, we're going to come in here. And then we're going to try to do approaches. So last one, did we consume a fuel? Yes, we did, because we get all high numbers, apparently. All right, and we'll spread this one out as well. So now we are in the target zone, which is good. So let me readjust the camera so you can see it. So now we were on hazards. So we already did wind, let's do hazard. So draw hazard markers, quantity and type. assigned a flight. So we have one Type 2 per flight and one alert per flight. That's going to be absolutely terrible. So let's draw for Flight 1. We have a Type 2, and let's check that out. So Flight 1 gets his own little happy hazard. Flight 2 gets their own little happy hazard, etc., etc., and etc. Okay, one alert hazard per flight. Where did my alert hazards go? I have them here. That is a lot of alert hazards. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. This is going to be quite painful. Let's see what we got. We assigned it to the flight. One flight at a time. Distribute evenly, reveal, and resolve the hazard. So, let's go with Flight 1. We have, let's see, our Type 2 hazard for Flight 1. And that is going to be a wind check. Okay, that's going to be a wind check. Immediately remove the wind marker in the flight zone, then make a wind check for that zone. Well, okay. Remove the hazard marker, put it back in the cup. All right, so let's make a wind check. So in order to make a wind check, we have to go over this chart here and make a wind check. And we roll 2 dice, and then we're going to figure out what it is. So let's get our 2 dice. Wind check, go. So we rolled a 5. So let's see. 5. So we are calm, which is our indicator here from the previous wind check. So the weather is calm. So calm, a 5 would be a crosswind, not severe. And we already have a crosswind, not severe. So nothing happened. So okay, whatever. Now we remove this from here and put that back in the cup. And now we do resolve the alert. So the alert is a plane. And that is an interceptor, so we have to do a gunnery check. And if you remember from the previous video, gunnery check is you get 4 dice, and you look for 6. Let's do our 4 dice. We got 1, 2, and 2, 3. So we failed the gunnery check. And so I have to attach this interceptor to somebody because I just failed the check, and therefore I take damage. So what I'll do is I will, from Flight 1, we got this guy, Holstrom, and since these 2 people on Flight 1 already have problems, I'm going to attach it to him, and because he failed, he takes a damage. So we are putting a damage marker on him. Okay, so that resolves the first one. Let's go to Flight 2 and look at our thingy. So that's a vessel. So we need to put the vessel at the bottom of the map. And we have to roll a dice and see if, from 1 dice, if that number is less than the number of ships we have on the map, which is 2. So we need to find out if we roll a 1, basically. Let's go here, and we rolled a 2. So it says if the number rolled is less than the number of vessels, which is 2, increase the alert level by 1, but we have 2 vessels and we rolled a 2. So we're good on that. So now let's go to the alert for this particular one. We have an interceptor with an A on it. We have to assign this to somebody. So what I'm going to do is assign this to Jones. Poor Jonesy. Sorry, man. And so from Flight 2, we'll line them up here. For Flight 2, we'll assign the interceptor to Jonesy, and then we're going to have to do a gunnery for him. Put that back in there. All right, so we got a 5, 2 6s, and a 1. So the 2 6s, we did hit the 6. Therefore, we got the gunnery. So that means that we can remove the gunnery off of Jonesy and put him back into the pile of alerts. Okay, next, let's resolve the hazards for 3. So we got an interceptor as our type 2 hazard. That's probably no good. We need to assign the interceptor to somebody. So poor York here already has a fuel leak. So eventually he's going to be hard up on fuel. I don't know. Sorry, man. I'm going to have to assign that to you. You already have the fuel leak. Sorry, bro. Do a gunnery check. And we got 2 6s and 2 4s. Very nice. Even with a fuel leak, he was able to stave off the evil interceptor. And the alert, obviously, is another one. I'm not sure if I can assign it to the same guy or not. I think I have to distribute it. So let's go for, so this is flight 3. Flight 3 actually has a remove an interceptor. So what we'll do is assign it to him, and then we'll go ahead and use this ability, Larkin's ability, to remove the interceptor entirely, and then throw that over there. All right, so that handles that. So let's put Larkin back, since he has nothing notable on him currently. So 4th flight, we'll do 2. And that is a ship. Oh, that's no good at all. So now we have 3 ships. So if we roll a 2 or less on a single die, do a single die, see what we got. We rolled a 4. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, so the ship doesn't do anything for now. Flip over the alert. Interceptor, obviously. I don't have any super interceptor killer guys, so we're going to assign that to Greening. Assign an interceptor, and then do our 4 dice. Give it a nice shake, and see what happens. We got a 5, a 5, a 5, or 2 5s and 2 3s, so he takes the damage. Oh, that is unfortunate for him. Nope, it stays with him, just like this one stayed with him. Okay. Poor Greening. Sorry, man. All right, so let's go down here to this one. So we have, first time seeing this, we have a fuel evaporation attached to a B-25. It has no immediate effect, but when making a flying on fumes check, roll an extra dice. Okay, so we need to assign that to someone. We already picked on poor... well, no, we need to go to the next flight. Ignore damage, medic. So we're going to assign that to Pharaoh. So Pharaoh's over here. Let's move these down so it's clear where that goes. So fuel evaporation is going to go on Pharaoh. So now let's do the alert. If I can flip it over. And of course we have this. I'll go ahead and pick on Pharaoh and give him this as well. So see what Pharaoh does for dice. We do have 1 6. So Pharaoh lucked out. You lucked out, man. You only have the fuel evaporation now. That goes to the back of the cup. So now we've resolved each hazard. Now we consume a fuel. And next turn we'll be trying to enter one of these cities here. So we consume a fuel. So let's grab this fuel and remove fuel from all of these. We're down to 2 fuel, or no, 4 fuel on everybody, I think. Yeah, that's going to be unfortunate when we run out of gas. So I made a mistake here. It says 1 alert hazard per flight not to exceed alert level, and our alert level is 1, and I drew 4. So I made a mistake. I'm going to undo that and try to reverse time and pretend that this particular interceptor never came in and never bothered Greening, and I think that will forgive my sins. I apologize for not reading the actual text on the board. That would have been great. And we'll move Greening back over here and stop picking on him for now. So the last one that we did before we realized our mistake was fuel, so we're good. So now we're going to move the turn marker. Now this is interesting. Our turn marker is now on 1400, 1600, but the nighttime is going to be sneaking up on us really fast, and we need daytime in order to enter these cities. So otherwise we get a huge disadvantage. So this actually should be quite interesting. Plus, we have 2 compass issues here, and we got an interceptor chasing this guy. So we still have a lot to do. I'm excited. Let's go for it. So the next phase is obviously move, and it says if you're in a flight zone with target, which we are, there's our targets, then we must do a target acquisition check. So what is a target acquisition check? So for Tokyo, we basically have to get a 7 during the day, which is the left number, or a 9 during the night, which is the darker right number. So we roll a 7 or higher, and that is a target acquisition check. Now notice it says contact, which we do have. Each contact marker in the city box allows 1 reroll. I guess a complete reroll of all the dice. Remove the marker when used. And also we have a modifier of +1 because of our navigation training. So we need to roll a 7 with a +1. Now, remember the compass errors that we have on these 2 guys. So I'm not sure what to do on a compass error because we have 2 different definitions. This one says, no immediate effect, but when entering the target map, this B-25 is delayed a number of attack turns equal to a die roll. Now notice, a delay of a number of attack turns equal to a die roll. So that doesn't say the turn of the die roll. This is the number of attack turns equal to a die roll is the delay, and then you return it to the cup. But the manual, under compass error, it says enters on an attack turn determined by a die roll, which is different than that one. For example, the die roll is a 4, so the B-25 enters on turn 4, but that's different than the handout sheet that says it's delayed by the die roll. So is it determined by the die roll, or is it delayed by the die roll? So in this particular instance, I'm going to say that the book is right, and the handout is wrong. And I'm going to say I'm going to roll a dice, and if I roll a certain number, then that's the turn I'm allowed to enter, otherwise I'm delayed for a compass roll. So let's do that. Assume the book is right. So we'll roll a single die, and we'll see the turn number that I can enter at, which is 3, and we're already on 1, we're on 1, 2, 3, we're already on 3, so there's no delay. Okay, so let's assume that the compass error produced no delay since it is turn 3, and I'm going with a book, and I'm going to throw this back into the pile somewhere. Ones. Okay. All right. So that fixes the compass error. So the faulty compass only activates when we make a target acquisition that's successful, which we have not done yet. So let's go to the move phase and start our target acquisitions. Okay, so we're going to try to now enter Tokyo with flight 1. Let me move this over. So you have first flight. So we're going to try to enter Tokyo with flight 1. So here we go. For Tokyo for flight 1, we need a 7 or greater with a modifier with training of 1. So we need a 6 or greater to get that. Let's see what we get. So we got plenty. So he immediately enters the map and begins combat. But we're going to skip that since we already did that on the last video. I will let you know the results though, just in case you're curious. You're like, well, did you get it? Bombs in there? Man, what happened? So he immediately enters Tokyo and we begin fighting. So let's get all of his guys and put them over here. And, oh, we have to resolve this faulty compass, though. And I'm not sure what to do about this once we go in there. Does that delay it or not? I have no idea. Faulty compass. Now, we did make a successful target acquisition check, but we do have a faulty compass. So how does that affect us? So, target city. It has no immediate effect, but it's effect triggered that makes a successful target acquisition check, which we did. Target city. After making a successful acquisition check, that initiates the attack segment, yes, roll a die. If it's even, remove the hazard marker from play. Don't put it back in the cup. If it's odd, this B-25 is delayed 6 attack turns. That is, the B-25 will enter the target map on attack turn 6 in the perimeter area. So basically, we need to get it even or we're screwed. So that's not the turn of the flight, that's the attack turn. So on this particular map, as we're entering, we have turn track, so he would have to wait until turn 6, which is insane, but okay. So let's hope for odds, shall we? Or even, sorry. Let's hope for even. Well, unfortunately, roll die. If it's even, no effect, remove it from play. He will be delayed. He will be delayed by quite a bit. Poor guy. All because of 1 dice. That's awful. But anyway, so the first flight made it in with 4 fuel to go. He went into Tokyo. All right. So I know we get to re-roll die with this, but it's for the acquisition check. It's not for his stupid faulty compass. So he gets delayed, and this goes out of play. And so he's just going to sort of hang out, I guess, on the perimeter of the map and doesn't get to enjoy the bombing run. All right, so let's get all of our guys for Flight 2 up in here. Here we go. Now, do we have any benefits of over here? Because in the 4th flight, we have a pilot bonus and a navigator bonus. We get 2 bonus for entering. So these guys enter. Right now, I'm supposed to stop and do this, but I'm not. So yell at me in the comments. That's fine. I already did the whole round. I'll let you know how it goes, though. So let's assume that we did all of that. Let's go back to the map. We're back. Yay! Let's go ahead and attack Nagoya. So we're going to go roar and try to get into Nagoya. Now we have a pilot, we have a fuel and a bombardier. We have no benefits to getting in there, I don't think, other than the training. So we need a 7 with a 1 benefit for the training, and we need a 6 or above, basically, to get in there. Let's see what we do. So we got it. These dice roll high. We got a 10. So we go and head on in there. No compass errors, no drama to deal with. That's fantastic. All right. So we get all of these guys, and we're going to put them on the Nagoya map, which is right here. So here's our Nagoya target map. So we are going to take a break and go attack and do something. Let's pretend. So they're on the perimeter of the map. You remember from the previous thing, we can only enter 1 per turn. So it'd be a minimum of 3 turns before these guys enter anyway. So they go on that map. All right. So we're doing good. So we have a fuel leak on here, this guy. We have Larkin. We already used his benefit up. And then we have this guy, which can remove an interceptor, but that doesn't do much for us. So the fuel leak only affects us if we have, I think, 3 or less, or less than 3 fuel, which we have 4, so we're good. And flying on fumes, which, again, we're not doing. So let's go ahead and head on into Osaka Kobe. You know, I feel bad about this. I think I want to do this so I get a reroll. I feel bad about this die roll. I don't know why. Let's go for the 3rd flight to go into Tokyo. We need a 6 or above. Let's see what we get. Oh, no, we got fine. We got a 7. So we go on in. So here's the map for that. And let's pretend that we stop and immediately start fighting and bombing. We don't, but let's pretend. Okay, so that goes over here. All right, so 3rd flight, no drama, no fuss, no muss, and we're good. We got 2 more to go. Okay, so let's see. Let's get these guys. So now we have some bonuses. Look at this. This is wonderful. We have a navigator bonus and a pilot bonus. That's +2, +3, So instead of 7, we just need a 4 above in order to get in to one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and try for Nagoya because I don't really need a reroll when we got 2 bonuses to effect. So I need a 4 above to get in there. And we got a 7. That's fantastic. So all these guys go to Nagoya. And again, we will move these off camera and pretend they went to Nagoya. All right. So we're going there. We got one last flight. And they're going to go into Tokyo because we haven't used our reroll yet. So, you know, that could be pretty handy to do. So this is a 5th flight. Does the 5th flight have Pharaoh? Not sure. I lost track of, is he 5th flight? So I'm assuming he's 5th flight. I lost track. Sorry, guys. It's towards the end of the video. Getting kind of repetitive. So we have 5th flight. We're going to go on into Tokyo with a reroll opportunity. This doesn't apply. So we only get one. We only get one for training. So we need a 6 or higher. And we get a reroll. And we got a 4. But we get a reroll. So I'm going to take the reroll off. And we're going to do the reroll. 6 or higher, and we got it. We got in. That's fantastic. So again, we're going to Tokyo. Let's grab the Tokyo map and put these guys on it. Pretend that happened. And the flight again. Man, we had just a great time on here. This is so fun. So really, man, I really love this game. Really love this game. We had such a great flight. I'm very pleased with all these dice rolls. I don't know why these dice roll so high, but whatever. Sure, I'll do that. So thank you for joining me. Again, we broke a rule with, you know, I believe we're supposed to stop and immediately fight. I don't care. I just wanted to show you the whole flight thing. Anyway, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I will see you next time. We'll do mission 8 or 9. We'll do the one with the naval. And the last one we'll do just a complete entire game. So hopefully that'll be up in a few days.